I honestly can't believe Dunsparce has an evolution now. It took so long for it to happen that it doesn't feel real now that it's happened. Dunsparce is a surprisingly decent Pokemon in GCNU. It can be an infuriating Pokemon to face, and on occasion, it can sweep entire teams with ease. While it faces competition from other normal types, particularly Wigglytuff, its excellent typing and unique move pool let it carve out a niche for itself. Dunsparce is most commonly used as a paralysis spreading sweeper. Unlike Wigglytuff and Porygon, Dunsparce's paralysis spreading move is Glare, which has the unique ability to paralyze ground types, unlike their Thunder Waves. This helps Dunsparce fend off Dugtrio, but it is most notable and useful against Graveler and Pupitar, two of the biggest stops to Mono and Curse normal types. Paralysis pairs incredibly well with Curse, since the Paralyzed flow is now slower than a Curse boosted Dunsparce. With Glare and Rest, Dunsparce can paralyze a foe and then fish for full paralysis chances as it rest loops Pokemon who are now slower than it, like Xatu and Ninetales. Dunsparce can use these free turns as an opportunity to set up Curse and eventually break through them. Dunsparce's bulk is solid and it prevents it from being 3-KO'd by Xatu, Ninetales, and Dewgong. While its attack stat isn't great, Normal is an incredible attacking type in GCNU due to a lack of good rock and steel types. When boosted, physical attackers don't threaten it much anymore, and the tier special attackers are all threatened by it and paralyzed by Glare. Dunsparce's attack stat is just good enough to 2-KO common Pokemon like Xatu and Fearow after a single curse. Most teams don't use normal resistant Pokemon, so a well played Dunsparce is a rather consistent sweeper. Pokemon like Primeape and Weezing can threaten Dunsparce, but they both despise being paralyzed. Almost nothing can handle boosted normal types in this tier, so if you give Dunsparce free turns, you are gonna have a bad time. Dunsparce is a staple on paralysis spam teams, supporting Pokemon like Kingler and Statler with paralysis support, while posing a threat itself. Dunsparce is a decent switch into the tier's less powerful tanks, like Chinchou, Dewgong, and Ninetales, and it can even go toe-to-toe with Xatu and Octillery if necessary. It can also be used on normal spam teams, alongside Wigglytuff or Statler. Dunsparce used to sometimes use a mix set, with Thunder and Pursuit that seriously threatens Xatu, but this set is really bad. It is mostly a meme that you shouldn't use, and it hasn't been seriously used since 2020. The primary reason Dunsparce is not more common is the rivalry it has with Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff is almost identical to Dunsparce, with them both possessing the same attack, speed, typing, and almost the exact same bulk. Wigglytuff is a smidge more bulky on the special side, while Dunsparce is a smidge more bulky on the physical side. Wigglytuff is far preferred overall, however, due to its superior move pool. Wigglytuff learns moves that Dunsparce would kill to have, like Double Edge, Body Slam, Ice Beam, and more. Nothing unique in Dunsparce's move pool comes close by comparison. Wigglytuff is also better at using special attacks due to its higher special attack stat. This leaves Dunsparce in an unfortunate predicament, since there is a Pokemon almost identical to it that is much more versatile. Dunsparce's only real advantages are Glare, which can paralyze ground types unlike Thunder Wave, and its superior physical bulk when compared to other normals. This can let Dunsparce win Curse Wars against Body Slam and Return variants of Wigglytuff, though Double Edge variants may give it trouble. While Dunsparce remains decent overall, and its advantages are nice, they are often not enough to justify it over Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff isn't even the only normal type that Dunsparce has to compete with. Statler is more powerful than Dunsparce and it has Earthquake for Rock and Steel types. Porygon and Noctowl give Dunsparce competition as slow, mono-normal type Curse Sweepers. Porygon learns the incredibly overpowered Recover, and Noctowl has an immunity to spikes and fantastic special bulk. Dunsparce has its own issues as a sweeper too. Dunsparce's main flaw is its lack of reliable recovery when using its Curse Glare set. Dunsparce is forced to use Rest without Sleep Talk, and while Glare can help it burn through sleep turns, it is still very easy to exploit it when it's asleep. A sleeping Dunsparce is free entry for Pineco, as well as set up sweepers like Statler, Kingler, and Primeape. Dunsparce is also very slow, and it lacks any useful resistances. This can make it difficult for Dunsparce to switch in when spikes are up. Dunsparce is also quite the crit magnet when it is rest looping Pokemon like Xatu and Octillery, since they have numerous opportunities to attack it, and one crit means Dunsparce now loses the matchup. Dunsparce's journey throughout the many iterations of GCNU hasn't exactly been the most exciting story. In the Mr. Mime metagame, Dunsparce was mostly overshadowed by Lickitung, who was one of the best Pokemon in that metagame. Lickitung had Swords Dance and Earthquake over Dunsparce, and it could even use Belly Drum. It was a decent Pokemon with Glare sets, but Lickitung mostly overshadowed it. Things got worse for Dunsparce when the 2018 tiering shifts happened, which brought down its main rival Wigglytuff to GCNU. Lickitung was so good in this metagame too, so there really wasn't much reason to use Dunsparce. When Raichu, Golduck and Feraligatr were banned in late 2019, things somewhat improved for Dunsparce. Early on in the modern metagame, it was still used as a curse sweeper that could spread paralysis and pose a sweeping threat. It established itself as a decent B-tier kind of mon. That is where Dunsparce remains today really. While Lickitung would eventually fall out of the metagame, Wigglytuff continuously proved to be a top tier Pokemon. GCNU became an incredibly offensive and fast-paced metagame, which didn't benefit a slow setup sweeper with no resistances. The tier became more hostile to Dunsparce, and it still continues to face competition from other normal types to this day. These days, Dunsparce is not a bad Pokemon, but it's not a great one either. On its own merits, it's a solid Pokemon, but it struggles to stand out in the normal type infested metagame.